So is there a difference between wanting to be happy and seeking freedom from suffering?
Well, yeah. Doesn't need to be. If you understand that the greatest happiness is being free from suffering, then you could align both projects into one. But if you are using the worldly measures of happiness, then they're usually taking you in a different directions of the direction required for being free from suffering. In other words, they'll take you towards the direction of acquiring possessions, finding safety in things, connections, family, sensuality, desires, basically pacifying your mind, providing it with what it wants, is what people regard as happiness. But obviously, if they start reflecting on the whole problem, on the whole lack of satisfaction implicit in it, the risk, the lack of safety implicit in all those things, then they would realize that it's really like a trap. It's not really a happiness, in the sense that it's like truly safe and truly just not kind of subject to like circumstances, others, and so on. For that you need to basically make quite a bit of effort to uncover and kind of realign and change the values of where your views are, like what you think happiness is. But fundamentally, there is a common thread, though. Like people would be engaging with sexuality, acquiring possessions, forming connections, everything else that people do. They would do it because fundamentally, not fulfilling those desires is unpleasant. So then happiness is deeply rooted in avoidance of discomfort. That's what's perceived to be happiness. If I can avoid the displeasure, I'll be happy. I'll be contented. Getting what you want is just basically avoiding the displeasure of not having it yet. And that same thread remains even for somebody who practices rightly. You recognize, I'm prey to suffering, I'm subject to suffering. The ultimate happiness and peace is basically when I would be unable to suffer. So it's still rooted in the same like desire to be free from suffering, but then you realize, well, the first type of desire just goes around and kind of perpetuates the suffering through engaging with things that are set up and blamed for lack of happiness and so on. But the second type of desire recognizes that all of these things are futile. They're just like scratching the itch, offer temporary superficial relief, while underneath that making the infection worse. So then they say, no, I'll abstain from all these seeming instant gratifications and satisfactions of my discomfort. And I'll stay with the discomfort so I can hopefully see through it and uproot the real problem. And see, that type of desire can result in completely uprooting the desire. Because first and foremost, you're not fueling it anymore through your behavior and actions. And second, you are actually looking through it, seeing where the problem really is. And the problem is in you craving in regard to what you feel. The problem is not in simply what you're feeling currently. So when there is craving removed in regard to pleasure, in regard to pain, in regard to neutral feeling, there is no possibility of suffering to touch you ever again.
And where is the feeling to be found?
Wherever it's felt.
Which is where?
Which is where the domain of feeling is. Saying where is the feeling implies kind of a sense of space which comes on account of perception. And that's not where feelings are felt. So the question, where is the feeling? Colloquially speaking, yes, of course, you can say that and answer it. But if you're really looking where the feeling is, you're not seeing it. Because feeling can be felt, not perceived. So where is my feeling? Well, just ask yourself, overall, in the broadest sense, how am I feeling right now? Is it positive, negative, or neutral? There is no fourth option. And you'll see. And the more you practice that, the clearer that general nature of feeling becomes. That questioning through that recollection. But the more you expect to observe your feeling, the further away from your feeling you're actually drifting. because that's where craving exists. It doesn't exist on a level of this molecular momentary sort of second to second kind of oversights that you like split second and you overlooked something and craving came in. No, craving exists in that broadest framework of your feeling that you completely have no clue about. Because you're looking for your feelings over there, over there. Sometimes you might think about it in broad terms, but never to that sense, hold on. What am I factually feeling in the broadest sense? Pleasure? Like right now, for the duration of this experience, now when I brought it up through my recollection, what is the current feeling that's enduring? In the broadest sense, oh, this specifically I like, these specific things I dislike, none of those are feelings. Oh, I have these sensations, it's like none of those are feelings, those are all perceptions. Feeling is, do I feel okay? Do I feel not okay? Do I feel neither okay nor not okay? That's where you look for feelings. And not too much and not too little. Like if you think again through asking those questions you're going to crystallize it and see it in front of you, no, it's always underneath you. It's always behind you. It's always the weather you are in. You can't step outside of it.
And so if someone still has doubt about this more general level of feeling that you are now describing, can they ask, do I want this experience as a whole to more or less continue the way it is, or am I sort of leaning towards wanting it to become otherwise?
Anything that will make them basically start feeling on that level, on that very general, quite ambiguous in the beginning, non-defined level. It's almost like not even it's gonna feel like, oh, but this is, I need to define it more. And that's the lack of the mental training. When the mind is not trained enough, it cannot operate on those levels. They seem ambiguous. They seem too subtle because it's not used to staying with them. But factually, take any person with zero knowledge of anything and ask them, how do you feel right now? And the answers that you can give me is positive, negative, or neutral. Those are the three options. Don't proliferate into psychology and start giving me the concoctions of this and that. Just in the broadest sense, would you say, I'm okay? I feel okay. In the broadest sense, I don't feel okay. Or I feel neither okay nor not okay. And then stay with that. When you find that answer, let it endure. Don't try to, okay, what do I ask next? No. You're not supposed to ask anything. If you reveal it, you don't have to ask anything else then. You just have to learn how to start feeling it on that level. Because yes, you can have, somebody can be bothered by this specific thing or that specific thing, but overall their mood is okay. And if you were to ask them, they would know that. They cannot not know that. And equally, somebody can have every woman desire catered to them. Every immediate kind of craving, perception satisfied, but they're in a bad mood. Which means none of this will matter because they're in a bad mood. And that's the point, to recognize, oh, that mood, that weather is kind of what gives the inclinations, the pressures and so on. So the more you're discerning it, the closer to the roots of the problem you get. That's where the craving is. That's where the whole leaning away from pain or leaning towards pleasure happens. Not in front of you in this, as I said, moment-to-moment observational experiences or something. No, it's on the level of the framework. So if the weather is good, I want more of it implicitly at the back of my mind. If the weather is bad, I want less of it implicitly at the back of my mind, even if I don't think about it. But now if I start paying attention to what's at the back of my mind, I get to see then what kind of attitudes I cultivate towards it.
So the attitude is in relation to the presently enduring feeling.
Yes, presently enduring feeling at the back of your mind.
And what needs to be purified is not the feeling, but the attitude.
Yeah, basically, what needs to be purified is your views regarding it, your de-emphasis of those levels, you looking past it, ignoring it, and trying to find things that are more palpable, more measurable, more perceivable. That's why sense restraint has to come first to prevent you from just making things worse inadvertently. Because the more you're engaging with sense objects willingly, through choice, on the basis of passion, aversion, and so on, the more your sense bases, the more the background of your mind is obscured. The further away it is, the more abstract it is when you think about it. You don't see the concreteness of those moods. You see them as things that come and go secondarily to your point of view, to your experience as a whole, but it's the other way around. You start looking at those moods rightly, you'll see that actually you and your experience as a whole is within the mood, not the other way around.
And that is how you can see that you have no say in the mood, because in
Yes,
a sense...
that's how you eventually basically stop assuming your sense of self outside of your experience.
And that's the aim.
Yes, exactly.